All right, what's happening? Brian Edwards, MajorWager.com. Let's talk some Week 11 college football. Got a lot of injuries to get to. I got some picks to share, some good ATS stats. However, let's start over there in Tallahassee. It was getting willy bad over there, and they had to throw that pink slip on Taggart. Extremely justified. I know it's a quick hook, but it is what it is. I detailed everything in an article on MajorWager.com, and they had not had a losing season since Taggart had been born. They had the longest streak of going to bowl games in the history of college football. And under him, they went 9-12 straight up, 7-13-1 against the spread. They always looked poorly coached. They looked poorly conditioned. They were always having to use timeouts because somebody had something wrong, whether it was the coaches and their signals or not having enough men on the field or whatever. I mean, and it never got better. It was just as bad in week 12 or week 14 last year. Game 12, Florida at FSU, when Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is like, hey, coach, you're one player short. You might want to get it out here. They threw a wide receiver there on the field the last second. I mean, they were awful. And look, when the seats are empty, everybody loses. And I ain't just talking about FSU and their fans. I'm talking about every hotel, every bar, every restaurant, every gas station. Everybody in a college town loses when you don't have an influx of, I don't know how I live in Gainesville or live in Tallahassee that go to the games, but I would imagine if you're putting 80,000 or 90,000 with Florida, I would imagine 50 or 60 are coming from somewhere else. So, your economy. Look, they had to get rid of it. It's a no-brainer. The few people that are bitching about him getting the hook too early are ridiculous. Okay, this is not going to be your normal coaching search. Is it a coveted job? Yes. Is it an elite job? Yes. Is it still a top 10 in America job? Well, as bad as the ACC sucks outside of Clemson? Sure it is. But FSU is a mess right now. I detailed it in my column. You can check it out there. You can just listen to me rant about it right now. Okay, so their president, school president Thrasher, first off, he's kind of a career politician himself, which isn't necessarily bad, I guess, for your school president, but he's getting ready to retire. Like maybe within the next 2-3 months. He's retiring soon. That's a known fact. All right. This AD they've got, Coburn, so he is literally a career politician, like 40 years of it. I linked in my column to the guy's bio on the FSU website. He has no history in sports. None. I'm sure he's probably was a season ticket holder as a politician to go to FSU games. This guy doesn't know anything about sports. He is a finance guru, whiz, if you will. When Stan Wilcox, their old AD, left, I want to say it was last November, about a year ago. He left to take a job with the NCAA. And who the hell goes to take a job with the NCAA right these days, man? The NCAA might not even exist in 5 to 10 years. But they struck out on all their candidates. They did a search. Nobody wanted to come there because they know it's a dumpster fire. It's archaic. It's bleeding money. The whole university has financial problems galore. Now, do they have enough rich boosters to gather up 20 million to buy? Taggart's number is reportedly around 17-18, but to buy out the whole staff, is a little bit north of 20 million. And I think I read it's the second biggest buyout ever. And I was trying to scan my brain who would have been the biggest, and I couldn't really think of anybody. But anyhow, so yeah, they got big wig boosters. When they got to watch that garbage on the field, week in and week out, yeah, they can scrounge up 20 mil between 7 or 8 of them in a week or two. Yeah, that can happen, but it doesn't take away from the fact that the school has financial problems. And this Coburn dude, he was hired to fix everything financially. What is he doing talking to the press? I mean, who talks to the press during a coaching search? I mean, I think Strickland, when he got back from the Chip Kelly trip up north, which I don't know if that was New York or Bristol, Connecticut, year before last, when he eventually got Mullen, there was all kind of media at the airport, and I think he just made answered a question or two, but it wasn't like a media scrum or anything. Sorry about my phone there. But this guy's doing interviews, the first day or two of the search. Anyhow, he doesn't have anything to do with who's going to be hired. But my point is that whoever they hire is coming into this blind. Whoever they hire is not going to know who his bosses are going to be a year from now. Like I said, the Prez is retiring, and this AD Coburn is not in it for the long haul. So whoever they hire is going to take this job, even though he knows he's going to be having to say, have a boss man or say yes sir or yes ma'am or whatever, whatever gender the new school prez, the new AD is going to be. Shut up, phone. Damn it. Anyhow, so does that eliminate a lot of people? You damn right it does. And my phone is killing me here. All right. The dream of Bob Stoops. I mean, and there were FSU fans talking about how he was in Tallahassee the other night. Whatever. Listen, nothing is happening on this coaching search in the next week or two. I'm 98% confident. I mean, maybe an assistant can go do an interview, but you can't talk to a sitting coach during the regular season. Now, I mean, obviously Auburn went and saw Petrino at an airport whenever, 12 years ago. That was a secret meeting, and it got that school president and AD fired, and Tuberville won. By the way, I think Tuberville won a Senate seat in Alabama last week, if I'm not mistaken. But, yeah, so does that eliminate a lot of people? You damn right it does. In fact, the only people that I don't think it eliminates, 2 people come to mind. And one of them is my biggest fear. And by the way, this is just going to be an FSU coaching search video because I've already gone too long. I'm going to have to do a separate video to talk week 11. This is just a strictly FSU coaching search video. The only 2 people that I think they have a realistic shot at because of the circumstances. Now, look, everybody knows I'm a Gator and I hate FSU. But I swear I'm talking objectively here. And I just outlined why. I mean, you don't leave stable situations to go to a situation of unknown unless it is a serious jump in the job, which it would be for Mark Stoops and Mike Leach. And the reason I think Mark Stoops would potentially be okay with the circumstances is that he's been there. He was the DC, was it Jimbo? Maybe it was even 1 year Bowden, I'm not even sure, but he was DC for 3 years before he went to Kentucky. So he knows all those big boosters. He knows all those guys that are really calling the shots. He's familiar with all them. And so, if he's buddies with the 3 biggest boosters, he might not be really that worried about who the 80 is going to be, because if he's already pals with those boosters, he can probably deal with that. And then Mike Leach, because Mike Leach has been one of the best coaches in America for 2 decades in Pullman, Washington, and Lubbock, Texas. 2 of the biggest outposts in Power 5 college football history. I mean, Pullman, Washington, Lubbock, Texas. You're out in the middle of nowhere in West Texas. I'm not very good with geography in Washington, but I've heard Pullman's in the middle of nowhere. Kind of the Starkville of the Pac-12, if you will. And the one person as a Gator that I fear them getting is Mike Leach. Like, you could give me a list of 15 names. Realistic now. I mean, obviously they ain't getting Saves. They're not getting Oscar. And really, Oscar and Stoops are the only ones that and that's why I said this is going to take, it's probably going to take a month, actually. But it's at least going to take a week or two for anything to happen, because really Stoops and Oscar are the only ones in play. Again, unless it's like a coordinator. If a Brent Venables could, maybe Dabo would let him go interview early, if they were playing whoever the hell Clemson's playing. I actually still think South Carolina is going to give them some problems at Williams-Brice in that regular season finale. I actually still believe that. I sure do. And South Carolina's getting healthy this week, although they lost Josh Vann and Muse, the tight end. But they're getting Kiera Thomas back. They're getting Brad Johnson back. They're getting Rico Dowdle back. But yeah, so more on the FSU. Look, I mean, you're going to hear Matt Campbell. Who were all the other coaches I mentioned? I mean, maybe they could get Satterfield at Louisville, and they could do a lot worse than him. But at the same time, I don't fear Mike Leach is the one guy I don't want them to get. Not only because I think he would be great there. I think he would be great in any school football program with great tradition and a big fan base and good facilities and a raucous environment on Saturdays, which when FSU is winning, they can have. And well, I say that 2 games a year they can have it for Florida and Miami. And Clemson, actually. But, yeah, I mean, that whole ACC, they're terrible. But, look, Matt Campbell's, I don't even think he would leave Ames for, first off, he's got a buyout that's pretty healthy, I think. I want to say it's $6 million. There's just I don't think people are going to go into that job blindly. I mean, think about it. Just thinking about you, whoever you are listening, if you're an accountant, if you're a whatever you are you going to take a job knowing some new boss that's going to want to do things his way that you're not familiar with is going to be coming in soon? And I just don't. Mark Stoops and Mike Leach, that's who you got that's gettable. And they're really not either one of them are bad options, although as a Gator, I'd love for him to get Mark Stoops. I would love, because I'd love to keep kicking his ass. And I like the whole Stoops family. But that would work just fine with me. I just do not want them to get Mike Leach. I don't want it. If Tennessee would have let that dipshit John Curry, how was he going after Dave Doran? And I like Jeff Brom. Jeff Brom's good. He's had a lot of injuries this year. And how was he going after Jeff Brom and Dave Doran before Mike Leach? And he had Mike Leach. He met him in LA. He was going to take the job, and Fulmer pulled a coup, and they called his ass back, and they fired his ass on site. Thank you, Fulmer. The big man. He won the big one against us in 01, but he did go 4-8-1 against Spurrier. All right. There's no more time for me to just be throwing out all those potential names, because it's not happening. I think this search is all about Mark Stoops and Mike Leach, and I hope I hope it's Mark Stoops instead of Mike Leach. In fact, like I said, if I had that list, a realistic list, Mike Leach, and I could only knock off one name FSU's not allowed to have, that would be the one. Mike Leach. Not only would he win big, he'd be hilarious. He would be fun. He would be must watch every single presser. Just like Spurrier. Just like Spurrier. He would be the FSU version of Spurrier, except we had Spurrier when he was really, really in his prime. Leach might be a touch past his prime, but that dude's got minimum of 10 really, really good years of coaching left in him. And that's the guy I do not want FSU to get. Brian Edwards, MajorWager.com. Coming right back at you with some other videos.